Hi everyone, good morning. Hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Hello.
I'm sure.
Good morning. So let's start the session. So day before yesterday, we were discussing about throughput shaping timer. We have discussed about a couple of timers for pacing, uh, precise throughput timer and constant throughput timer. But I have explained about a scenario where we are unable to achieve the target throughput. Whenever we are not able to achieve the target throughput, how do we achieve the target throughput? By increasing the users. But how do we know how many users we need to increase? So there should be some formula, right? So that we need to calculate the number of users using a formula, and that formula has been derived from Little's law. There is a law in performance testing which is called Little's law. So I'll explain about that law. And today's session is all about this because this is very important for you, because tomorrow in your projects you will not get any kind of requirements in most of the cases. So as part of NFR gathering, what I explained, you will get number of users, okay, transactions for each and every scenario and all that, right? But in most of the cases you will not get all these requirements, right? You'll get only one thing, which is the target throughput. Yeah, like the target transactions which you need to achieve. So based on that target throughput or target transactions, how do you calculate the number of users is what this session is all about. Okay, so let us do one thing before we start the session. There are 4 plugins which you need to configure before starting this particular topic. Okay, so one plugin is this throughput shaping timer. One plugin is the throughput shaping timer, and you know how we need to install this, right? You just need to download the latest version, unzip that, and copy the library, the jar files which are under library folder in Jmeter, and also the jar files which are in ext, you need to copy in ext, right? You know this process, right? I don't need to explain it again clearly, or if you want, I'll explain you. Please let me know. So it is simple. You just need to download it. So this particular plugin is throughput shaping timer plugin. So this throughput shaping timer, you will not get by default, like how you got this precise throughput timer, constant throughput timer. These are coming by default in Jmeter, but throughput shaping timer, you need to install this like this. You need to download the plugin and you need to copy the jar files under bin folder, whatever you have, you need to copy under Jmeter bin. You just need to go to yeah, library under Jmeter. So under that, you just need to copy this. And there is one more folder called ext under library. Under ext, what you need to copy? Go to the ext file, and you have 2 jar files in ext. You just need to copy those, right? The same process you need to follow for all these 4 plugins. The first plugin is about throughput shaping timer, and the second plugin is about 3 basic graphs. Okay, those graphs are average response time, active threads, and the success or failed transactions. Okay, so all these plugins, you have these plugins in my material. You can just go ahead and download these plugins at home. Okay, there is one more plugin called dummy sampler. So this dummy sampler is nothing but the name itself suggests that it is a dummy sampler, where it will give you, it will not hit any server, but it will run successful transactions every time, and it will give you some random response times, right? So I am downloading that dummy sampler also. And also the fourth graph is different thread groups. You would have already downloaded this. So it contains stepping thread group, ultimate thread group, concurrency thread group, and all that, right? So just install these plugins at home. Okay. So I have already installed these plugins, right? So now let us talk about the current topic. Like, so for example, I am running a scenario, which is a search scenario, right? Just think that this is search. Okay. And I am running this particular scenario with 20 users. Yeah, I'm running this scenario with the 20 users, and my ramp up will be how much? 60, right? And I am running this for how much duration? Like, let us run this for 5 minutes, okay? Yeah. So what do you need here? So what listeners you need? I need to enable aggregate report, and you have downloaded few plugins. So based on those plugins, I am also initiating few plugins like response time over time, and transactions per second, and active threads over time, right? So what are these three things? It will give you the response time. First graph will give you the response time of the search sampler, and transaction per second will give you the throughput during your run, and active threads over time, it will give you the graph of your threads, how your users are running, right? We are running with 20 users, and how they are running is what it will give you. Okay, let us run this. Right, it is running. So it is increasing the users. See this particular graph, how the users are increasing. So it will go to the peak of 20 users, and from there it will run for 5 minutes, right? So it reached 20, and see, look at this graph. It reached 20. So how long it took to reach 20? Around 60, like 60 seconds, around 1 minute, right? And that's how it is ramping up. And after that, it will run for 5 minutes. And let us look at the transaction per second. See how the transaction per second graph is looking like. This is our throughput graph, okay? How the throughput is increasing. And where exactly the throughput is standing right now? Around 70, right? Do you agree? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we are having 70 transactions per second right now, right? So So in this particular scenario, did I give any think time or any kind of precise throughput timer or something? No, right? So I'm just running the transaction straight away with 20 users, and I am achieving how much? 70 transactions per second. 70 TPS is what I'm achieving. But my client told me that I have to achieve 200 TPS. This is your requirement. But you are achieving only 70 TPS because you are running with only how many users? 20 users, right? So here, how do you achieve the number of, how do you achieve your target throughput, which is 200? How do you achieve it? By increasing the number of users. Do you agree? By increasing the number of users, right? But how do you increase the number of users? You cannot keep on increasing the number of users and run these tests until you achieve the target, right? That is a big time waste. So you will make it 20 users to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, like that until you achieve the target, but you will end up in running lots and lots of tests, right? So there should be some formula to calculate the number of users. So that formula will be calculated using Little's law. Okay, there is this Little's law in performance testing where you calculate the number of users. So the formula to calculate number of users here is TPS into max response time divided by 1000. So this is the formula. So TPS into max response time divided by 1000 is the formula where you will get the target users. So what is our TPS now? What is our TPS? What is our target TPS? 200, right?
200.
200 into what is our max response time? So in this particular scenario, you ran the test and your max response time is around 516 milliseconds, right? So your max response time is 516 milliseconds divided by 1000. So what is 516 divided by 1000? It is it will be around 0.5, right? So what is 0.5 into 200? It is 100. So in order to achieve 200 transactions per second, with how many users you need to run? 100 users. So this is how you need to calculate. Are you getting me? Or do you want me to repeat?
Sir?
Once repeat on.
Okay. See, simple. I am doing a search transaction here. Okay. And I am running with 20 users. I have 20 users. I am running with 20 users for 5 minutes. Okay. Forget about this time. Okay. Forget about this. I'm running with 20 users. Maybe with the 3600 seconds also, like 1 hour also. So how much transaction per second I am achieving when I'm running with 20 users? 70, right? 70 transactions per second is what I am achieving. So in the aggregate report, you will see around how many transactions after that, after this 5-minute test? 20,000 transactions. But per second, how many transactions are we achieving? According to this graph, according to this transaction per second graph, you are achieving around 70 transactions per second. But my target is to achieve 200 transactions per second. For example, just think that this is my target. Target is 200 transactions per second. How do you achieve 200 transactions per second? How do you achieve 200 transactions per second? So if I give precise throughput timer, also I cannot achieve 200 transactions per second in this case, right? Why? Because giving a precise throughput timer, even not without giving a precise throughput timer, also I am not achieving my target. So how can I achieve if I give precise throughput timer? Your precise throughput timer is only used to control your transactions. It will not increase the transactions. Okay. So the max transactions with 20 users, you are achieving only 70 TPS. But your target is how much? 200 TPS, right? So for that, you have a formula in Little's law. So this is the formula to calculate the number of users. So in order to achieve 200 transactions per second, you know you need to increase the number of users to achieve 200 transactions per second. But how do you calculate that? So the number of users equal to that your target TPS. So this is your target TPS. What is my target TPS? 200 into my max response time. What is the max response time you got in this test? You can see that in aggregate report, right? My max response time is 500 milliseconds. So I gave that here divided by 1000. So you are getting 100. So 100 is my target, right? So if you run this particular test now with 100 users, you will achieve your target. You don't need to give this ramp up as 300 also. For now, you can give 100. Let us run this test now. See how the users are increasing. And with how many like we are with 45 to 50 users right now, and see how the throughput is increasing. Previously it was only 70, now it is reaching 200, right? So now we reached the peak, right? Now let us check the transaction per second. How much it achieved? How much it achieved?
Around 380.
Correct. Around 360. Around 360. But what is our target? 200, right?
200 only.
So the Little's law will give you the number of users, definitely. With 100 users, it is saying that you will achieve your TPS. But if you don't give the precise throughput timer now, it will achieve more than that. So now it is the time to give precise throughput timer. Now, then only you will achieve your target of 200 correctly, right? So you have to give precise throughput timer right now and give 200 in how many seconds? 1 second. And what is your duration? Can be anything, 300 in this case. And now if you run your test, you will achieve your target correctly. Okay, any doubts? Because I'll go to the detailed topic now. This is the basics of how you calculate the users using Little's law. Whenever you're not having the target users, whenever you don't get the requirement from the client, like with how many users you need to run the test and all, you need to calculate the number of users like this. You can ask me if you have any doubts. Now I gave precise throughput timer, so it will try to achieve only 200 per second. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
the little slow, does it give us standard users at any point of initial users? Like if you took 20 users, it gave like 100.
Correct.
Would it give the same if you try with 10 users? I mean, 10 users with a corresponding max response time. So would it be like a standard result every time, or we'll always have to do the approximation and then get to the final?
I didn't get you.
Okay, the reason I am asking this is it two-step process to request for users? Like if you are working, if it's in a project, do you first request 20 users and then calculate using the little slow and then request more users? Or you say you get the maximum users at the beginning and then try it out?
No, if you don't have the number of users, you will run with some random users and try to achieve your target throughput.
Okay. So right at the beginning, we ask the maximum number of, because I think that is taken care by a different team, right? So do we get the like a maximum random number of users, and then like in this case, I might ask for 150 users and then calculate with 20 users for the correct target TPS, and then end up using 100 users. Is that how it goes in the project?
Correct. That's how it goes. And also you need to understand one thing. Generally, you use this little slow and all these calculations for any brand new application, if that application is not in live. So if it is if it is an existing applications, you will get the number of you'll get the user count from the database itself, right? If you contact your database team or DevOps team or your admin teams, they will give you for each and every transaction for fund transfer, how many sessions are there for a particular hour. For bill payment, how many sessions are there, like how many users are logging in, how many unique users are logging in, right? You need unique users, right? So that way they'll give you. But if you are doing testing for a brand new application for the first time, even business doesn't know that how many users are going to go live, like how many users are going to register and use that application, right?
Right.
So in those cases, you can calculate this. And in some cases, if you didn't get the number of users even from the database for any existing application, so you can achieve your target throughput using this little slug.
Okay. Targeting this target TPS, is it called stress testing, or stress testing is different? Is it what is called? Or like here our focus is to meet.
No, this is load test. This is load test. This is not stress test, because you are trying to achieve your target throughput. Okay. You need to underline this target throughput. That means load test. The target throughput means the production throughput. You are trying to achieve your production throughput. Whenever you are trying to achieve your production throughput, that is load test, because you are trying to achieve your production stats. But if you are trying to achieve double of your production throughput, then that is stress test.
Okay. So I was assuming the load test is more about the users. I mean, let's say if we are targeting certain number of users, that's what I thought is load test. So it is the transaction.
That is load test only. See, if client give you the requirement that you need to run your test with 1,000 users or 2,000 users and achieve so and so target throughput, that is load test. But in some cases, you will not get the number of users. You will only get the target throughput which you need, whatever you want to achieve. Like they'll tell you for fund transfer, you need to achieve 50 TPS, and for bill payment, you need to achieve 10 TPS, like that, right? If they give you that, and if you ask them with how many users, and if they don't have answer, then you can still go ahead and create the users and try to achieve this throughput start with 20 users or 50 users and try to achieve this throughput. If you are not able to achieve, you know how to calculate now.
Yes.
With how many users you can achieve this throughput.
Okay.
You know how to calculate. You know, because you know your target TPS. You can give that here. and you know your maximum response time because you already ran this particular test with some users, like with 50 users or 100 users. You know how much maximum response time you are getting. So you can give that here. And this is standard, like 1000. Right? Your maximum response time must be in milliseconds.
Yeah. And this we do for every functional area. Like if funds transfer we do once, bill payment we do another. We apply this again based on what the response time is for that particular.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. I am coming to your question actually. So how do you do if we have different transactions like bill payment, fund transfer, and all that, right?
Okay.
So this is how you calculate if you have a single transaction, right? See the throughput graph now. It achieved like around again 360, like it achieved earlier, but it maintained that 360 throughput throughout the test. But now you gave precise throughput timer. You asked it to achieve only 200 TPS, so it dropped the TPS immediately and it tried to achieve 200 TPS throughout your test. So this is what you need to do in your test, right? Fine. Okay. So now just disabling this. Think that you have multiple transactions like this, right? Launch, login, fund transfer, bill payment, and log off. Log off. Or just think it's fund transfer, OTP, and log off, right? So this is your scenario, and you will give think times also, right? You will give think time in your script, right? So let us add our think time also here. Okay. So now again take 20, 60, or you can maybe give 20 only just to run quickly. So you are running this scenario, and let us run first. Just initially you need to run to know the maximum response time. Okay, so I'm running it. So here, if you go to the TPS graph now, see, you are getting a different kind of graph because you are running different scenarios, like you are running fund transfer, you are running launch, login, log off, fund transfer, OTP, and all that, right? So you are getting TPS for each and every transaction. Okay. If you go to the settings and if you select the aggregate display instead of detailed display, so detailed display will give you the TPS for each and every transaction. Aggregate display will give you the TPS, overall TPS. So I just clicked on aggregate and you are getting overall TPS now. And now tell me what is my TPS. How much it is achieving?
16, sir. 16 around.
Yeah, around 16.
16,
right?
18.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Now again, my target is to achieve like 100 TPS. It is achieving 16 TPS overall. My target is to achieve 100 TPS, right? With the 20 users, it is achieving 16. My target is to achieve 100 TPS. Now tell me the calculation. You tell me the calculation. What I need to do. What is my maximum response time here? What is my maximum response time?
Sir, మా 50 users తో రన్ చేస్తే సరిపోతుంది సార్. ఇది ఇక్కడ 500 వచ్చింది కదా సార్ మనకి మాక్సిమం అరౌండ్.
Okay, fine. So you're saying 50 users, right? Okay, fine. Target TPS is, what is
100.
our target TPS here? 100.
100.
Okay, 100 into again 0.5 seconds, like 500 divided by 1000. So in seconds it is 0.5.
Yes.
So our target must be how much in this case? 50, right? So we need to run with 50 users to achieve 100 TPS, right? Shall we run and check? So run just చూద్దాం. So how much I need to give now? 50, right? 50. Okay. So let us go to our TPS graph. And what is my target? 100 TPS. It has to achieve 100 TPS, right? Are we achieving 100 TPS?
No, sir.
Let's see. Let's let the test complete. Do you think we will achieve our target here? Ravi, Sai, do you think we'll achieve our target? What is our target?
50, 100, sir.
100. But how much we achieved?
Around 45, 40.
Okay. So now you tell me the reason. Just try to think and tell me. So there is a logic here. There is a catch here. There is a catch here in this scenario, and the previous scenario we are achieving. We have calculated little slow. We gave the number of users as 100 and we achieved 200 TPS. And now also we calculated little slow. But no, now we are not achieving our target.
I think we are using here different transitions like launch, login, different scenarios. At first scenario, we have test for only one thing, like only search option only, I think.
Okay, I don't think that is the reason, because we are taking overall throughput here. Though we are using different scenarios, launch, login, fund transfer, OTP, log off, we are taking overall throughput here. This throughput is for all transactions combined.
I think throughput has to be individually calculated for everything, because the transactions would respond differently for each of them. I think that's where it is getting lost.
Okay, okay, then okay. Shall we take the same search scenario and run and check?
Yes.
Search, right? What was our target in search? To achieve 200 TPS, right? And how many users we got there? 100, right?
100 users.
100. Okay.
Sir, I think we also have to change the timer.
What timer?
In the
This
previous
one?
example,
This we need to enable. Okay, is that what you are saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So what is our target here? 200.
Yeah.
So did we reach 100 count? 100 users? It reached 100 peak now, right?
Yeah.
So how much did we achieve? How much did we achieve? TPS 80, right? But previously with the same search we achieved how much? 200.
200.
Even in precise throughput timer also I gave 200.
200.
Previously it reached 360 and dropped to 200, and it achieved around 200 throughout the test. And I didn't change the number of users also, 100. Everything is same, but why are we achieving less this time? So the catch here is the think time. Previously, I did not give this think time. Now I gave this think time. Even the other scenario, while we are using login, fund transfer, OTP, everywhere I gave think time. But in our formula, how are we calculating? Target TPS into maximum response time divided by 100. So what is our target here in this case? 200 into what is our max response time? 500 milliseconds, right? And here you have to give think time also, because we used think time, right? How much think time have we used for search? 1000, right? So what is the count here? 1000 plus 500, 1500, and divided by 1000, which is 1.5, and 1.5 into 200, which is 250, right? So you have to run with 250 users in order to achieve your target now.
So 300, sir.
So sorry, 300. Yeah,
300.
You have to achieve 300 users in order to achieve your target. So you should be very careful while you are calculating these things. So that is what I want to tell you, right? So having think time and not having think time will change a lot. So if you don't have think time, you can achieve your target with 100 users. Since you have think time, you can only achieve your target with 250 or 300 users. Okay. And also you will use pacing in your test as well, right? So if you are, for example, if you are running this in load runner, you'll use spacing between the iterations. Even there also, if you are doing this test in load runner, you have to include the pacing time also here. So basically the formula, the overall formula will be like this, like target TPS into max response time in milliseconds plus think time plus pacing, something like this, divided by 1000. All right. Since it is a Jmeter, pacing, maybe it doesn't comes into picture, that's fine. But if you are running in load running, you have to add pacing also there, right? So you should include think time while you are calculating this particular lateral slope. So if you now enable this particular scenario and make it to launch. And now how do you calculate this? In order to achieve 100 TPS, you need to include think time also, right? So 100 into 500 plus, again the same, 100 into 1.5, right? It is how much? 150, right? So you need to run with 150 users in order to achieve your target. Are you getting me? We ran with 50 users earlier.
Yes, sir.
So we need to run with 150 users in order to achieve your target. Your target here is 100 TPS.
So there is a constant think time in the other transactions also, in the other samplers also, right?
Yes, but here our target is to achieve the overall throughput of 100. 100 TPS for all the transactions. That is why I gave overall here. This is the overall throughput. So I'm running with 100. I'm running with 150 users to achieve 100 TPS. Let us see if we are able to achieve now or not. See, your requirement in your real-time projects will be like, for fund transfer, you need to achieve, they'll tell you that for fund transfer, you need to achieve 100 TPS. And this is a fund transfer script, which starts with launch, login, fund transfer, OTP, and log off. There can be number of transactions here. For all transactions, it has to achieve 100 TPS, right? Including fund transfer, fund transfer, OTP. See, it is achieving our target. Now we are with 126th user. So we achieved a target, right? Which is 100. So maybe it will drop. We are with 120 TPS. It will drop a bit. It will maintain at 100. Okay, so this is how you need to achieve. This is how you need to calculate using Little's law. And there is one. Yes.
One question. Sorry.
Yes.
But about the when you calculated for all the transactions,
yes,
you considered think time of only 1 second, right?
Correct.
But now the overall think time for all the time, because we are looking at the transaction time for all the transactions, which is 500 milliseconds.
Correct. But you have to give the overall think time here. That means 1 second plus 1 second plus how many transactions you have? 5. So you have to give 5 seconds here.
Yeah. So
that means 5,000.
Yeah, 5,000.
And maximum response time also, how you need to calculate your maximum response time?
It was.
I think it will be this. Yeah, so, tell me.
Yeah, so it was 500 plus 5,000. That is 5,500.
Correct.
By 1,000, which is 5.5, right?
Correct. So you have to calculate that way.
Okay, but how did it achieve in our case when we considered only 1.5?
No, here I am taking the total. My target is to achieve 100 TPS for overall, for all the transactions. If I don't want to achieve 100 TPS for only fund transfer, I want to achieve 100 TPS for overall transactions. That means for one transaction, I want to achieve how much? See, let me remove this. I have removed this aggregate. Okay, I have removed this aggregate. I made it detail. And now I will go to this rows and I will uncheck everything and I will check only fund transfer OTP. For only fund transfer OTP, how much it is achieving? 30, right? 35. Okay. For each and every transaction, it is achieving 30. That means it is achieving overall 100, right? Okay. So here I am targeting for overall 100. If you want to target for one transaction, only 100 for one single transaction, then calculate how many transactions you have. I have total 5 transactions. You want to achieve 100 for only one transaction. So for all 5 transactions, you want to achieve 500. 500 is what you need to achieve, the TPS, right? Based on that 500, you need to calculate the number of users. Getting me?
I think I missed a point. So here we are running for all the transactions. So I'm saying it should have been 5 seconds plus 500 milliseconds by 1,000.
Correct.
So that should be 5.5, whatever the users into 5.5. But we multiplied with 1.5.
Oh, this is for overall, right?
Overall, yeah. So the overall, the transaction, the response time was 500 milliseconds.
Correct.
and the total think time is 5 seconds.
Correct,
For all,
correct,
for
correct,
all of them.
correct, correct.
Yeah, so I was thinking if why 1.5 we multiplied with 1.5 because it's over, although it is overall.
So here you are saying that we have to give
5 seconds, 5,000 milliseconds.
Okay, let's. So what is our target here? 100, right? 100 into
Yeah.
What is our max response time?
500 plus
500
plus 5,000. 1 plus 1,000 plus 1,000 plus.
5,000.
Yeah, that is 5,500
divided by 1,000. What is?
Sir?
Yes.
In that case, we got 100 transactions per every user, right?
Correct. $550, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, with 550, with 150 only we are achieving.
Yeah, we are achieving. I'm confused. I know we have done it the right way, but I don't know why, what I'm missing.
No, 1 second. One second.
$110.
Hmm?
That will be $110. Yeah.
I think 1 second, we need to give target TPS divided by the number of transactions.
Okay.
Achieve this target TPS for I think we need to give the target TPS divided by the number of transactions, but there is a logic behind that. I'll get back to you on that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that logic tomorrow. Here we have to give the target TPS. If whenever we are calculating for overall, we have to give the target TPS divided by number of transactions, which are 5 here. So it will come around 110. But why are we giving the number of transactions? There is some logic behind that. I'll tell you that tomorrow. Okay. I'll have to check that. Yeah.
Thanks.
But see, basically this is how you need to,
అంటే మనం 550తో చేస్తే ప్రతి ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ లో 100 ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ వచ్చేస్తాయి కదా సార్. అంటే లాంచ్ కి 100 వస్తుంది, తర్వాత లాగిన్ కి 100 వస్తుంది, లాగౌట్ కి 100 వస్తుంది. ఓవరాల్ గా అయితే 100 రాదు. అంటే ఓవరాల్ గా అయితే మనకు 500 వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా. అంటే 550తో చేస్తే అంటున్నాను సార్ నేను.
550 చేస్తే ఓవరాల్ గా 100 వస్తుంది.
ఓవరాల్ గా 500 వచ్చేస్తుంది సార్. అంటే ప్రతి దానికి 100 రీచ్ అయిపోతాం కదా మనం.
కరెక్ట్. అందుకనే వీఆర్ గివింగ్ టార్గెట్ TPS divided by the number of transactions. We need to divide it by with the number of transactions while we are calculating this.
అవును సార్. అందుకనే నేను ఫస్ట్ చెప్తున్నాను ఇంతకు ముందు మనం మాట్లాడుకున్నాం కదా, 150 ఇచ్చాం కదా. సో అందుకని మనం 150 ఇచ్చుకున్నాము. అంటే ఓవరాల్ అన్ని ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ కలిపి తీసుకోవాలి కాబట్టి యావరేజ్ రెస్పాన్స్ టైం ఒకటే తీసుకున్నామని, 1 సెకండ్ మాత్రమే తీసుకున్నామని. మేబీ దట్ ఈస్ ద లాజిక్ అనుకుంటున్నాను.
No. Average response time, whenever we are achieving the overall, we need to consider all these think times, right? We need to consider all these think times. Okay, but whenever we are doing this formula, ఈ టార్గెట్ టీపీఎస్ ఉంది కదా, ఈ టార్గెట్ టీపీఎస్ ని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ తో మనం డివైడ్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, బట్ వై ఆర్ వి డివైడింగ్ దట్, ఐ విల్ టెల్ యూ. ఓకే
ఓకే సార్.
Okay, so I just remind me this tomorrow, I'll tell you this. Okay, so this is how you need to calculate your number of users using the Little's law. And there is one more thing in Jmeter. There is one more element in your timers. We talked about this precise throughput timer and constant throughput timer, right? Apart from these two timers, we have something called throughput shaping timer also. So the advantage of this throughput shaping timer is you can increase your throughput or you can decrease your throughput any point of time, like this, right? How long you are taking to ramp up your number of users? Like if you are running with 100 users, you will take 300 seconds to ramp up, right? So you can give ramp up time here. And if you want to achieve only 50 TPS during your ramp up, you can give only 50, 1 to 50. And after ramp up, you are running this test for 3600 seconds. Give 3600 seconds in the second row. And during your steady state, like during once the ramp up is completed, you can give like this. Like how it is doing, see, you can play with your target TPS like this using your throughput shaping timer. See, during my ramp up, it will try to achieve 50 target, and once my ramp up is completed, from 50 to 100 it will increase continuously, or you can just make it 50 also. If I give 50, it will maintain at 50. Okay, and you can add a different row, and you can say suddenly it should increase to 75 at some point of time. And you can give 1800 here, and you can give 1800 here. See, so you can play with your throughput. Like in precise throughput timer and constant throughput timer, you can only give one throughput, like one target, which is 100 or 200 or whatever. If you give one target, it will try to achieve that target during your load test, right? But in throughput shaping timer, you can shape your throughput. Like for half an hour, I want to achieve only 50 TPS, but after half an hour, I want to increase my throughput to 75. So like this also you can give in using your throughput shaping timer. If your requirement is like this, you can use throughput shaping timer and give your scenario like this. So during my ramp up, your throughput slowly increase to 50. When you are with peak users, it will run for half an hour and it will maintain that 50 TPS for half an hour. And after half an hour, it will increase the throughput to 75 suddenly. And again, once it increases to 75, it will maintain that 75 for another half an hour. So like that also you can design your throughput using throughput shaping timer. Yeah. But again, while you are calculating this number of users, you need to be careful using like using your this Little's law, right? Because having throughput shaping timer and calculating the number of you need to maintain more number of users because you are increasing the throughput here from 50 to 75. If you have exact number of users where the throughput cannot increase from 50 to 75, then there is no use in using throughput shaping timer. Okay. But this is the advantage of having throughput shaping timer. You can increase and decrease your throughput at any point of time during your load test. Right. So these are the different timers which we have in Jmeter. And in tomorrow's class, I will tell you how we calculate this little slot. Like why are we dividing this with the number of transactions and all that. And after that, I will start with a new element. Okay. Probably I'll start with, I'll take config elements tomorrow. And day after tomorrow, I'll take assertions, right? Assertions are a little important. And I'll probably cover config elements, complete config elements tomorrow, right? So you have different config elements like CSV dataset config, HTTP header manager, cookie manager, cache manager, request defaults, and all that, right? So important config elements I'm going to cover tomorrow. Okay. Do you have any doubts in today's session?
No, sir. Thanks.
Okay, then let's meet tomorrow. Sai?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, fine. Right. Bye.